Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, to Welded Life live stream. I'm your host, Welded Life, coming to you live in sunny My Life's Craft Room here in wacky and wonderful Wawa, Whistler, Lakesville, the wondrous Western Kentucky. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are in the spinning ball of water and dirt. Welcome to the show. Welcome, y'all. Welcome. We got a big one today. As promised, we're going to be doing some welding video reacts, welded reacts to basically whatever y'all sent me there in the Discord. And I'm going to, well, enjoy. Let's hope. One way or another. So I came prepared because when you're going to do welding, or in this case reaction videos, you got to get your PPE ready. So I brought the old welding goggles with a high grade of shade because I'll be throwing a lot of that today. No, just kidding. Let me go ahead and get these up and off of there. Although we do promote proper use of personal protective equipment, or PPE as we call it, when it comes to welding. It'd be best to be able to watch these videos if I'm fully prepared, with my eyeballs fully dressed and ready to engage the day. We'll keep these handy just in case, because God only knows what y'all sent me today. Oh my gosh. Let's see, this first one, okay, let's see here, is from user Icy Sky. I'm going to get my desktop view up. I'm going to go ahead and just We'll get this first one up. We'll take it nice and slow today. No big rush because I'm going to be editing this down. I'm going to be editing this down for YouTube later, and I'll need to have areas where I can chop the video up and things and edit out this reaction, put this one in. Y'all get it raw here, though. Y'all get it raw here on a Twitch. YouTube had to get that edited version because they're all soft on the YouTubes. Y'all ain't soft here. Y'all's hard as steel here. That's why y'all come to Welded. About 2,500 degree, bringing the heat. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to bring the heat. First one's from Icy Sky. Let's go ahead and get over here into the Discord and take a look. There's not going to be any chat today. Sorry, we're doing reactions. Oh. Okay, Icy Sky says, absolutely. It says, because I posted, okay, everyone, post some videos for me to react to. Fails, successes, anything welding. Icy Sky, literally 1 minute later goes, absolutely. These are called grizzly walls, made for sand and rock to go underneath. Made for sand and rock to go underneath the dump trucks as they pour into it. Well, over 1,000 5-inch welds on it. Takes roughly 2 days to complete. 1,000 5-inch welds. That sounds 2 days to complete. Well, if you're doing just regular working hour, I mean, I'd do it in 12 hours. But you know, not everybody can be welded. No. So let's get right into this. See, and Hafix has got some I'm looking forward to. God only knows whatever he's going to send. Let's see. Hold on. No. We got to full screen that motherfucker right there. There we go. Volume from. Wow, that's impressive. We'll probably have to play a couple times. That is one hell of a support structure. That's not going any damn where. I mean, just look at them welds. Those beautiful, beautiful welds. You know, if you look close, you don't see really any undercut because you. Come on now, cooperate. Like even when you go back to like here, here's a good one. Got a good shot of it. It's not really a clear image. I wish I could get it to just go to a clear image. If I can get to the halfway point between some of these, makes it kind of hard to see. You don't see any undercut up here, which would be where the metal's burning away or melting down into your weld pool, which means they're getting enough metal into the weld to fuse it. Those little fast to travel. And I say that because those are some of those a little more arrow pointed, a little arrowhead, when they should be more stacked dimes. But apart from that, that looks really impressive. And what you're going to get there is a lot of solid structure. I guess from the description, it sounds like this goes up. They roll the trucks up over it on the gravel. I guess this is in the gravel when they roll the dump trucks up on top of it, and that's laying down. And they roll the dump truck or whatever on top of it. They fill it with sand and gravel. That gives it structure underneath to keep it from sinking down into the mud or gravel, or I guess, I don't know. I'm going to guess that's what it is. Okay, made for sand and rock to go underneath the dump truck as they pour into it. Okay, so I get that. Grizzly walls. So... And I don't know if they if they flatten that off so they don't, I mean, it's not going to wreck the tires from the roundedness, but, putting strain on pressure points on tires like that could cut into it. I mean, I guess if you're laying it down flat for a truck to drive across, it makes sense that it would give it some kind of structure to support it and keep it from, I don't know. The dump truck as they pour in. I like it. The welds look pretty good. They went a little fast in areas from the arrow pointing. A little fast is all it is. It's just a little bit of fast travel. Or their wire speed. It looks like it was MIG, I'd say. Okay. Not likely stick. I'd say MIG welding. Just judging. It's not bad. That's a good way to start. Alright, let's get to the YouTube. Oh, no. Alright. Oh, Lord. Oh! Fuck! Oh, my God. Alright, where do I start with this? Oh, my God. I can't... I fucking need the goggles. Okay, number one. Okay, this is a TIG welder. Okay, if this is steel, slowly but surely, where he's heating here, that heat is going to rise and rise. And he won't notice in his hand until the inner layer of all his flesh there is cooked off. He won't notice before the skin on his legs and all this exposed skin is cooked by the UV light. And here's the thing. It doesn't take 10 minutes of that right there to get you a nice golden brown. Okay, let me tell you from my pasty pale experience, and it's none too pleasant. The kind of golden, crispy, golden brown. You're like a KFC extra tasty, fucking crispy. Let's. He's TIG welding. Okay, at least he's wearing a hood. Oh God, I didn't notice the pipe in the back. Oh. Oh, Lord. Well, go ahead and keep welding it, buddy. I mean, might as well. Then I'm sure they'll get the pig grease and they'll lube up your head and they'll get it out of there. If he's dumb enough not to wear proper equipment to weld in, then go ahead and weld the rest of that up, and y'all just leave him for dead, because he's going to be that way anyhow. God, that's terrible. It's on so many levels. It's terrible. It's like, I need to wash my mouth out of that one. And we still got more. Let's see. Is that it? So now, instead of going and getting something to protect himself with, here, let me bring this dangerous ass angle grinder over here. We went from Tweedledum to Tweedledummer. Tweedle dip and tweedle shit. Okay? And let's bring this angle grinder over here. Now, if at any point I'm using that angle grinder cutting wheel, I'm assuming that's a cutting wheel, because if he's trying to use a grinder wheel to do that, we have bigger fish to fry. If he's using that cutting wheel and it feels like it's grinding too much, it's going to shatter. And now, neither of them are wearing PPE to protect their eyes. Hey, at least he had a welding hood to protect his eyes from the sparks of the fucking grinder. But no. Let me just set that down here. Okay, buddy, come over here and, throw hot sparks and fucking flying shards of metal everywhere. Let's keep watching. Now weld it again right, dipshit. No, good God. He's trying to TIG weld, no filler rod. That's apart from the PPE bullshit. Oh my God. Blech. Blech. Oh my Lord. Lord Father in heaven, please protect these idiots, because they sure as shit don't know how to protect themselves. Amen. I can't even look at it anymore. It makes me sick to my damn stomach. Alright, Havoc, you jackass. Alright, let's see some. Let's see something else. Let's see, that was, oh, good Lord. Let's see the next one. Let's see what you got.
As you can see in the beginning, we have a couple bad strikes, so we got to learn to strike it like a match.
Hold the fuck.
But this is an aluminum welding rod as well.
Aluminum welding rod?
As you can see in the beginning, we have a couple bad strikes, so
aluminum welding rod. I've tried it. I've never found an aluminum welding rod that works. Yeah. What I am seeing here in this video so much to be said. This looks like steel. This doesn't look like aluminum. He's up under a vehicle. I think, judging from that right there, I'd say he's under a vehicle. I don't know what he's up under. That would be aluminum. It looks like something structural from the I-beam look of the stuff above him. Why is he using aluminum? This is, what?
we got to learn to strike it like a match.
Learn to strike it like a match.
Welding rod as well. As you can see in the beginning, we have a couple bad strikes, so we got to learn to strike it like a match. But this is an aluminum welding rod as well.
It's burning through so quick.
As you can see in the beginning, we have a
there's
couple
like
bad
little
strikes,
to know.
so
Just
we got to learn to strike it like a match.
What?
But this is an aluminum welding rod as well.
Just what do you do? Use it just
As you can see in the beginning, we have a
plug
couple bad
aluminum
strikes,
holes.
So
I don't get what that's supposed to be for. Lord, looks. Hey, he's pushing hard. I know. I see what you're saying there. He's pushing hard, but it's like he's following it up in there at the rate of speed he should. But you shouldn't have to follow it that fast. I mean, he's using what? What's that? An eighth welding, 1/8 welding rod. It looks like. I guess. He's not using big ass drag rod or nothing like the big thick shit thick as your thumb. You just put it down and you lay down a weld bead. No, I don't. Oh, Lordy mercy. Yeah, he's pushing hard for sure. You are right. Oh, my. Who's teaching these welders? Is it like old people who didn't know how to weld out on the farm decided, Hey, you know what? You know what? Tell you what, Sonny. We're gonna go out of the. We're going to the farm. I'm gonna teach you how to weld. And he got some old 6013 or 60. I guess it was old 68, 6011 for some AC welding. Got the old AC welder out and showed him how to weld with that, and he got all right with it. And Grandpa said, "Well, there you go. That's all I can show you." And he said, "I'm a TIG welder now. I was gonna weld aluminum with fucking MIG wire, which I have aluminum MIG wire. I haven't tried it yet. I'm eager to try it, but I will try anything when it comes to the welding, but I usually have no hope in it. It is the absolute, and you're absolutely right, Icy. It's an absolute clusterfuck. It was an absolute clusterfuck. Ugh. God. All right, what's next? Oh, I forgot something. I'm not even recording this shit yet. Oh, that's right. I can just pull it off of Twitch. Never mind. I don't have to record it. I can just download it. Ugh. God, I felt like an idiot there. Oh, and another one from Hafix. God, Hafix, please, please let this be a good one. Let it be something beautiful. He's probably into the good. Okay.
Oh, wait.
All right, I'm going to start with at least he's got his PPE on. Put your hood down. He's about to do something bad. I know I can tell you what's about to happen. He is in a tight space welding. He doesn't have his hood down. He's so close to the metal, he's about to start striking arcs before he's meant to, and he's about to blind himself. That's my prediction. Because that's what we all need, right, folks? To do dumb shit while we're welding. Oh, Lord. Let's see what... Fucking called it. Fucking called it. I just fucking called it. This is the epitome of clusterfucks here. Like, you have to be aware of your surroundings. Like, he could lean back over in this area over here behind him. He could lean back over there and go, put the welding rod in, bring it in, and then hood down, weld. But no, he's gonna aim it up where I have about 6 inches above, and I'm gonna flail around like an idiot.
Oh, wait.
What are the... Like,
oh, wait.
Is he like a new welder? You've brought your buddy out to the thing? He jumps. Why would you do that? Like, jump with it like he's afraid to stick the welding rod into the holder, into the stick holder. It's like he jumps and it's like, oh, I think this, I'm okay. No, I don't believe it's an actual welding fail. I believe this was staged to look like a clusterfuck. This is staged to look like a suck bucket, and it's not a suck bucket, it's a fake suck bucket. That's fake puke in the suck bucket. Okay? Calling bullshit. Calling bullshit. Alright, what else y'all got for me today? Oh. Let's see here. How much are they worth? A lot more than they believe. See, how much do you think you're worth? If I can't really see his weld too well. I wish I could see his weld first. I'm not a big fan of hood covers like this, where they have the extra plate or whatever, because they're laying on their side or what have you. And these people they look at their welds and they say, well, you're worth X amount of dollars. Okay, let's see what he says.
What do you think you're worth an hour to come weld for me? $32.50. $32.50, no per diem?
100 per diem.
100 per diem? About 30 even, 110 per diem. How much?
Clearly that kid knew what he's been looking at welding jobs and seeing what they pay. The pancake hood, yeah. or pipeliner hoods, because they spend a lot of time leaned over at angles looking up at pipe, and it just, I don't like them. You can take your welding cap, which most welding caps have a bill on the back here that you could just as easy and for a lot cheaper sling over. How people, we turn our caps around backwards, right? Well, you can just as easily, which a ball cap, that's what a ball cap is made for. You don't wear it just like this. The sun's over here, you adjust your cap, and as the sun moves across the sky, so does the brim of your cap. It's meant to move to shade you from the sun, because before the ball cap, you had wider brimmed hats, like the cowboy hat. So, just as easily avoidable having to spend the money on that bit of equipment. You can just take your welding cap and slide the brim over to cover one side of your face. Of course, they're looking for more protection, but I mean, actually, I get it. It's a lot of golden shower in that. When I say golden shower, I'm not talking about the dirty stuff, Twitch, with golden shower. I'm talking about that shower of the flux that rains down in golden sparks. It's the welder's version of the golden shower, the one that's actually not. It's actually It's actually PG-13 until they start cursing. Then it becomes rated R. When the welder starts cursing, when they get that little hot ember in their ear. Oh, terrible. Let's see. How much is this next one worth?
How much do you think you're worth an hour if you were to come weld for me?
I'd say 25, 30.
25, 30?
He's not bad. He's doing more than 30. He's like 40.
24 an hour.
24
$100 a day per diem.
What? Actually, I wish it won't let me go back. It won't let me go
How much do you
back.
think you're worth an hour to come weld for me? 20 bucks?
Yeah.
She's selling herself short. Actually, from what I can see, her welds don't look bad. Of course, I don't have a close-up look. They look pretty decent. She is selling herself way short. And honestly, they will pay, truth be told, they will pay women more per hour to go weld. To get them into the job market, because there's not a lot of women welders. Women don't generally, you don't see a lot of them pursuing a career. I was fortunate enough to meet one female who came through our program at WKCTC. Fantastic young lady. Actually, I think she was older than me at the time. Of course, this has been a few years ago. And she went out to run a project out on the Kentucky Dam. I believe is what, if memory serves me right, and that's the story, I'm hearing about the right person. She went out, she got her stick welding certification, and she went out and started working on the Kentucky Dam, and went from just a welder out there with the Iron Workers Union to she's running that shit out there, making a killing. She was a very good welder. I wanted to learn more processes and get more certifications and be more have my iron in more fires, so to speak, because I liked all the processes and the science of it. And I'm not knocking her for doing what she did, getting it, because a lot of people will come get their certification and run, and that's completely okay. Some people come do the stick because they want nothing to do with MIG and TIG. They're going to go stick. They're going to do all the pipe fitting stuff. They're going to do these kind of pipe fitter tests, boiler maker tests, get certified. They're going to go out and hit the job market. And thank you, Coco Melon, thank you for following. Appreciate that. So $20 an hour, she's worth 25 to 30.
20 even? Not too bad. How about 25 and 100 per diem? Alright. How much do you think you're worth?
First guy, they oversold him. His stuff looks pretty good, but I don't see a whole. You can't really. I don't really get a good look at the weld. But a lot of welders, when they come through school and stuff, it's good. I think Western Welding Academy. So looking at I'm glad that they tell them what they're worth. And it also regionally will depend on how much you're worth. Will determine how much you're worth. Like being a TIG welder here in Western Kentucky is not worth as much as being a TIG welder out on the West Coast, because the West Coast, they want less of they want more green or environmentally friendly stuff, and they see that smoke coming off that flux, from that flux, should I say, and they're like, oh, pollution, but they realize that TIG is done with argon, and they realize they're already breathing argon. It's already in the air. You're not changing anything. It's actually extracted from the air when they make oxygen tanks for hospitals and stuff like that, when they funnel off and do all this. So there you have it. So that one, I'm glad that there's a school that kind of tries to tell them what they're worth. This, of course, is, you can tell it's stick welding, $25 an hour stick welding. That's just that's your run of the mill. People showed you how to do it out on the tractors, welding together old frames. So, oh Lord. All right, let's go on to the next one. Is that the same one? Yes, I can tell from the image. That was the second one he reviews and tells them how much they're worth. Okay, keep them coming. Coffee Girl. Oh, TIG welding. The cup techniques, tips, and hacks on stainless. I'm gonna watch this. I'm gonna hold my thoughts in reserve. Actually, no, I'm not gonna hold my thoughts in reserve. Tips and hacks. It's like watching the 5-minute crafts videos on tips and hacks for stuff they ain't got no business doing. I don't know who it is. We'll see who the. Let's get it started. I'm afraid. This is not a full-size video. The wiggle that they're doing to wave it back and forth and make it pretty. This is a machine wobble doing this, I believe. No, okay. That technique is it's like it's walking the cup. It's basically like when you take a box and you have the two corners and you pick one up and you do it like that. It puts your tip. It weaves the tungsten tip in a certain pattern that you get that, and yeah, it looks pretty. And I don't know how well they hold up. I've never had to bend test somebody's TIG weld like that. So they're going to show you how it's done. Okay, show me how it's done. Seems like a lot of extra movement. You could just go bit, 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 bit. You know. But the minute you slow your ass down, well, they're not even using filler rod. Not even using filler rod. Yeah, of course. Oh, they just drag the rod. Okay, it just runs across the rod and fills it in. Okay, yeah, I've never seen anybody really do this, and people brag about being able to do it. It lays a really pretty weld. It does. It does look pretty. Oh, everybody loves the rainbow pattern color it leaves from the heating and cooling of the metal at certain temperatures. See, it looks good. It's just a very showy and flashy thing to do. It's literally, that's what it is. It's not a bad way to weld. It's just a very flashy, like, look at me, lets me show off how good I am at welding. But realize you're going to do all that twisting and turning from back here on the handle. There are TIG torches you can get that allow you to hold. It works it like so you can work it like a pen, which would be more ideal for something like that. Doing that weave pattern like that. There are TIG torches you can get that are like that. Otherwise, you're going to have to hold up here, and I don't know what you're going to have to do, because if your cable slips, like coming off the back of that torch, and pulls that weld. That's another reason I'm just like, just weld it regular. Don't try to do the fancy stuff. You're getting just as good a weld doing it without the fancy stuff, and lay however many bead lines you need down, stack them up. You're trying to lay what, you're trying to overlap 2 bead welds and just be done twice as fast. I'd rather have it done I'd rather have it done at regular speed for the 2 bead welds and have them overlap like they should. And there's nothing wrong with this if you can do it. I'm not clear before the welders come out in here and go, "What the hell are you talking about, Welded Life? Why are you being a dick? Why are you coming down on me?" Well, why you worry about somebody showboating? I mean, you get some big, a welder with a Chicago Electric stick welder who can weld good is just as good as somebody with a Miller or Lincoln. If they know how to use their machine, they know how it runs, they know how temperamental it is or isn't, and they can lay a stick weld just as well as any of the big boys with their big fancy machines. It doesn't matter what you're doing. That is pretty to watch. It is ultimately, though, watching videos like this, I do like watching them. He's just using drag rod. Not even drag rod. He just laid the rod on there. I don't like that he's got that rod angled back this direction. Doesn't look like it's following the bead line back. Personally, I would make sure that my hand that's holding usually you hold the filler rod kind of like a pencil. You rest it on your middle finger and you pinch, and when you need to get more, you slide down. And it will kind of rest. It'll kind of rest here on your fingers. Sometimes it'll hit that ring finger. I usually put my ring finger a little further out, and I'll feed from there. So it's not a far cry to turn your hand and just let it lay across and down the weld. So when you're grabbing the metal and it's fusing the metal, and it will kind of manipulate the puddle, the weld pull back and forth. I would personally feel more happy, be more satisfied with this overall video if that looked like it was running straight down the weld bead. Not being too critical, because ultimately this stuff is ultra. This is like people who like watching pimple popping and cyst popping videos. This is the welder's equivalent. There was, and I'll show y'all if I can find it. I could probably find it. Let's see. We'll show you some memes before I go on to the next video. Ultimately, those are ultra satisfying. Everybody's a welder until the weld test. Yes, I know guys like this. That's like they talk a mean game. Like, I've had bad welds before, but when I started, that's what my shit looked like. Like stuck welding. Just fucking cut it off and go on to the next one. That's not even MIG. Let's just cut the welding stick off. Or welding rod. Just leave it. Fuck it. Welding on Friday. What? Miller, Hobart, and Lincoln. That's what I'm going to name my kid. I'm going to name him Lincoln Miller. When a 6010 welder has to run 7018. What? I don't. Okay, 6010 is your. It's one of those 6010s what you run on like dirty, like rusty metal. It'll eat the gunk out of all of that shit. Like like it's farm 6010's like farmer's rod basically. Or you're working on or you might be working on a construction site and some rust built up. There's no grinder in sight. You grab that old 6010, get her started, and then you top it off with the 7018. But he's upside down. I guess the joke is he's upside down because he's like he went faster than he realized he could. Cause you have to slow down with 6010. You got to go, knock that flux off there, clean your welds, and he's just moving faster than he's supposed. I don't get the joke. I get it, but I don't get it. I mean, bitches love welders. We know how to grind. We always keep the area hot and ready. We know how to use our rods. We always fill the gap. We know the job ain't done without satisfactory penetration. My God. Oh, there's 1,000 of those welder memes, but that's probably the best one I've seen. Okay. Save image as. It's going to go in the bank. Okay, no, it doesn't going to work like that. Okay, we're going to... Alright, I'm just going to save... Okay, let's just save image as. Desktop. Save. Okay, we're just saving that there. Okay. Oh, Lord. That's funny. 6010. Another 6010 has to run 7018. Everyone wants to be a welder, so it's time to do welder shit. I can want to be a welder all day long, but my fat ass ain't getting in that barrel because my fat ass won't be able to get out. And all that's going to happen is that thing's going to heat up and I'm going to be a cooked sausage up in that damn thing. You're going to have to cut me out of there. You've been better off cutting all them welds off, welding the inside of it, letting somebody slide out, then welding whatever the fuck that is on the end off of it. Getting that off of there and then welding it back on afterward. I couldn't get my fat ass in. I'm the guy at the site that's like, well, who are we going to send to do that? That's a hard weld to do. Let's send old Welded over there. He'll get her done. Yeah, he ain't going to fit in there. What do you mean? Look. And they look over there and my fat ass is stomping across the fucking job site. Yeah, all right, let's get little Timmy over here. Come on, little Timmy. We'll get Welded to help you on through it. Okay, let's see. This is the truth. What society thinks I do. Yeah, what my friends think I do. This is a lie. They hear me talk about TIG, they might as well think I'm an astronaut. Well, my mom thinks I do. No, that's incorrect. This is all wrong. Look, what society thinks I do. Okay, what society thinks I do. That is what society thinks I do. What my friends think I do. That. Or that. That's what my friends think I do, okay? Then we go back to this, okay. What my mom thinks I do. Actually, this is probably what this is what society thinks I do. This is what my friends think I do. This is what my mom thinks I do. Let's see. This is what my boss thinks I do. That's the actual correct one on there. What I think I do. No. If this is what you really do, you're not being a welder. You're being a grinder. Okay? If this is what I really do, is a grind a bunch of welds, you are in the wrong profession. If grinding is what you actually do on the job, is a lot of grinding, you're not a welder. You're a grinder. Santa's bringing you a new grinding wheel for Christmas because he's seen your welds. Good God. That is so inaccurate. It's like, if you're being a terrible welder, the fact that somebody puts this up there, like, that's funny. It's not funny. For those, good thing about being a welder, no one sees your tears when you're welding. Yeah, I've had some welds that made me want to cry. If you're a welder, if occasionally your outfit catches on fire, I have a burn scar on my stomach. It actually wasn't from the welding. It was actually, I know I just talked about grinders, but you have to, when you do a bend test, you take a piece of 5/8 steel. You cut it in two pieces with a 60-degree bevel. 60-degree bevel means there's a 30-degree angle from here down, there's 30 degrees. From here down, there's 30 degrees. It makes a 60, well, this angle between my hands is 60 degrees. So it's a 30 and a 30. Not a 45 but a 30. All right, and you tack it onto your test plate, which is a little 1-inch bar of 1/8 inch, whatever. And you tack that onto the back of that along the thing. You weld it up per the specs that are given for the test. You start with 60-10 into your initial line. No backing material. It has to be a gap, so you have to tack it in places. You do your 60-10 first pass. They come check it, and you do it in the horizontal and the vertical. No. They do horizontal, vertical, and overhead. So some of us would get extra clamps and just set up all 3 of them and just go from one to the next. Because while one piece is cooling, you can start working on the next. And then you just have the instructor, who's your inspector, who's going to test you, who's going to rate your thing. Then you top it all off, fill it out with 70-18, and then you take that and you take the 2 centermost, not the 2 outs, because it's about 6 inch. 6 inch? How it was, and you take like 2, it's like you have 4 inches in the middle. You cut 1 inch off each side, then cut right down the middle. You have 2 pieces. You're going to take both of those pieces, you're going to grind down flat on both sides, right? And one side's going to be your front side, your weld side, and this is the back side. One of them you're going to bend against the back to see if your weld splits out the back, and it'll take this big machine that takes your weld, like if between my fingers is where that weld ran. It's going to bend it down again, like into the weld, to see if the back of it blows out. Another one, they'll flip it over and they'll bend it again so it'll press against the outermost part of the weld where you topped it off, right? But you have to grind it down flush. And what happened was I got the grinder and I wasn't paying attention to where the sparks were going, because my grinder's out in the shop. In my shop, they all have that spark protector on, that little cup thing that everybody fucking hates. And I wasn't paying attention. You always pay attention to where your sparks are. Of course, this is my first semester of stick welding, and I was cooking around. Once I got the hang of it, I just took off like a bolt. I took off like a Usain Bolt. I was gone. So I'm doing a bend test, and I've got the grinder in there because I'm going to have to grind it, let it cool, then let them bend it, because it's got to be cool. You can't let it while it's still warm, because they're afraid the core of it might still be hot enough that it could bend soft and you could fake your way through a test. They're smart. So you gotta let it cool off before they'll put it in the bending machine. I'm not paying attention because I'm used to my grinders at the house to where the sparks are going. And I'm looking up at like something else. I'm just kind of, there's a lot of material. I'm just trying to get down to where it's all flush across all the way from one side of the weld on the material to the other base material where you can't tell there's a raised area. That's how you set it up. And I go, what does that smell? Because I'm just going back and forth. It's kind of an older grinder wheel. And I'm just kind of, what does that smell? It smells like something's on burning. I stopped the grinder and let it wind down. Oh shit, I had this big hole that burnt my shirt. And my shirt was not necessarily, it was hot. I had opened up my denim long sleeve so I could kind of get some air. I was like, I'm grinding. I'm thinking I'm throwing the sparks over there. I threw sparks into that one spot on my stomach, and you can't really see it when I just take my shirt off. But if it gets cold, I got a little spot that turns a shade of purple. I actually had to pull my shirt off of the flesh. All right, let's go on to the next video. Then we'll go back to some more memes. That one was a very good one, Coffee Girl. Thank you so much. She is somebody I met playing City of Heroes. So much love for the Coffee Girl. Much love for Kana. I don't know who Kana is. Kanna. Who plays? I don't know what. I probably met him on Fallout or City of Heroes. There's no telling. And Halfix, of course, was a Fallout 76 player, and Icy Sky is a Fallout 76 guy. I'd like to get all y'all into City of Heroes too, because I really like the Welded Fam is doing what the Welded Fam does. All right, mesmerizing weld. This is one of those what we call. This is like those people who watch cyst videos or pimple pop videos, and they get. I can already tell what this is going to be. It's going to be machine weld, possibly. Somebody's doing it by hand. The precision that I can see right there makes me want to think that it's a machine weld. But let's do we have any sound? No sound? Oh, I don't get to hear the sound. That tip looks like it's way too close, but it's stacking nice, so they're running low. They're just running low amps and dabbing. This is by hand. Oh. It is
How to kill all mosquitoes in the area in 90 seconds.
In 90 seconds? Well, if whatever you're using to kill mosquitoes in the area and it takes 90 seconds, I don't want it anywhere near anything living on the planet. Okay, bud? But, it's just a beautiful thing to watch. I could watch this on loop. I could do this as a screensaver and just get that little area there and just work that video to where there's no fuzz at the beginning, where it fades out at the end and kind of gets fuzzy at the end. Just work it from right there, and just find a place where it's just going to roll into it. Only thing you'd notice is if you ever pay attention to that, or the printing on the metal on either side. Oh, it's gorgeous. And it's stainless. I'd imagine this is stainless steel, just from the look of it, and the way all your metal, any metal and any steel in general is going to pick up those colors like that. But it just, I want to think this is probably stainless, just because the way this polish has a brushed nickel look, the brushed metal look. It's got angles. It's probably stainless. In that this looks like some kind of machined part for something that they're probably not going to want to rust up, so it's probably stainless. It's just stainless will give you, when you weld stainless, the most beautiful hues and colors from the heat that comes off of it. Let me see if I can find a chart. Give me just a second here. The heat color. Let's see if I can find the right image. Because it's kind of gives you a little bit of point of reference as to where it's at. Okay, I want to find good information. Oh, forbidden? What do you mean it's forbidden? I have permission to access that resource. Alright, here we go. So here's a good example, like when you're looking at, and we'll pull this out of here, get rid of that there. Let's pull up the video, and we'll pull up this, and we'll size it a little better. Maybe I can size it just a little bit. There we go. So this gives it a good chance to kind of look at the yellow, this residual heat that turns it, the colors that it turns it. Like when you watched Forged in Fire, you always hear about them. They'll quench the blade in the oil. It'll get really hard and brittle if they drop it. If they were to use it right then, like to hack at something, odds are the blade would shatter because it's become brittle. They superheated it to dark yellow, bright yellow, somewhere in this range, and then dunked it. I mean, I've done a quench as low as 1700 degree quench. A lot of them like to do the bright yellow because it's just the more spread in that they get. Within that, it cools down, it comes back down to its gray with the black, or comes down to the gray, the regular gray. And then they talk about bringing it up to a dark straw or a light straw color. You want it somewhere between these two when you temper it. A strawberry blonde is basically the way it's what it kind of looks like. But what we got here, down here, I can see purples and residual. It's cool. It's where it cooled down there first, but it stayed hotter up here. But as you watch, this is how what cools first and what stays the hottest, and the heat's traveling up this way. And it's really neat when you realize that went to 2,000 degrees right there. Of course, this up here is 2,500 degrees. If you look at the weld itself, and I don't think that's right. That doesn't seem right to me. But when you heat steel, you start with a blowtorch or whatever you're starting. You're getting to intensify the heat. It'll get like you'll think that sometimes you'll get it hot and you'll think, well, it doesn't look like it's a slight red, but it's not whatever. Then all of a sudden it starts to get real red, and then it'll start getting them yellow, the oranges and yellows. Using a forge. I'm gonna redo my forge here soon. I'm gonna get some of that KO wool inside of it, making it a lot lighter, making it a lot more portable. I'm gonna put a tray on it too, so I can put that'll house my propane tank for it. I use a small propane tank. I don't use one of those big stacks, but I want a place for that to sit underneath it. But yeah. So that's basically what you're seeing there, and that's where you're getting the heat that drives that color. So if there's any question about that, and it's always a beautiful thing to see. So, like I said, I am very grateful to have seen that video. Thank you. Who sent this one? Coffee Girl for that video. Ultra satisfying. Ultra satisfying. Before we get into this last one, which looks like it's going to be fucking epic. Let me look up something here on YouTube. See if I can find it. Somebody did. Here it is. And this is not the only one. I've seen others that are like this, or they have spent time making an actual log. It looks really. I've seen better, but that one is still amazing. I'm not knocking this guy here on AWS, American Welding Society. Is that actually AWS? AWS Speed Glass. What? Well, I don't think this is the actual American Welding Society. Okay, let's get back to these. Yeah. Yes, yes, I have caught fire other times. That was just the most remarkable burn that I'd ever received, just so you know. Because I actually had, because my shirt wasn't a pure cotton shirt, it had some poly, it was a poly cotton blend. It did, in fact, in spots, fuse to my skin, and I had to rip it off of my skin, and chunks of me left with it. And I kept that shirt, trimmed it up, patched it in the front, and stitched it up just so I could be like, this is my burned shirt. This is for when I want to go get myself set on fire. Alright, next. When I'm here, it's like nothing else matters. It's like all the troubles in the world disappear for a split second. It's just peace. It's peace. Just me and the beautiful white light. Until that first bit of flux lands in your ear. And then all hell breaks loose. I'm sorry, I wanted to complete that line. Because his thought is that. Okay, so somebody took his picture of him, and he had this thought. And he went, yeah, it's just so serene, and all I hear is the sizzle of bacon and that beautiful white light. And then the next day he goes out and welds. And he's thinking about, it's just me and the peace, just me and the beautiful white light. And then, he screams and curses, remembering that he just said that just yesterday. And he throws his welding helmet. Like, I've had the flux in both ears. I even managed to not just like some of them go on the outside of their eye. I've actually had hot flux land on the inside corner of both of my eyes. Not at the same time, but it wasn't the same day. I wasn't wearing just regular glasses. I actually have safety goggles that have the rubberization around the top and on the sides that has the protection. I do not know how it got through my welding hood. I wasn't wearing just welding goggles. These are not actually welding goggles. These are costume pieces that I like because they look like real welding goggles. But they're actually. I don't actually have. I'm going to get a pair of these because I like the look of them. But and I'll have to get a prescription too. But, yeah. I had a welding hood on, my safety glasses on, actual prescription safety regulation glasses that I could take off and wear just around the shop, not have to worry about putting plastic blinders because it's got the big. Yeah. I'm holding off on that last video for just a minute here. Let's see. No one sees your tears when you weld because welders don't fucking cry. We get burnt, we fucking curse, carry on, throw our welding hood, and fucking punch the first motherfucker in the throat that comments about it. Nature sparkle fairies. This is what we call metal shavings are man glitter, and wood shavings are man dust. When everyone is welding big boy pipe, and they send you to weld structure. Welding pipes, it's a little tricky. Because you're not just working at that 90-degree angle. You're not working at. There's certain ways you have to weld, and there's different positions and stuff that you have to consider. And you are always welding uphill. Never. Well, I'll say that you're supposed to weld uphill on anything that you're welding in the vertical position, which means your weld's going to go. You should always weld up and never down for structural reasons, unless the blueprint says otherwise, which on only one occasion have ever come across a blueprint that said to weld downhill. It was an aesthetic item that was being added, not a structural item, not structural or pipe or anything like that. It was an addition that was merely for aesthetics, which is sickening. Oh my God. I could spend all day on this one. Some people are just better visual learners. Always make time for demos and hospital visits. This boy gonna go home tonight if he's not been set on fire from standing that fucking close to a stick welder. And let's face it is a stick welder. From all the fumes, he's not getting sick from he's probably standing in the fume plume, because if the welder's on that side of the weld, the fumes are either going straight up, and if they're outside, it's probably going toward the boy. Yeah. Looking directly at them sparks like, yeah, ain't nothing there. He's going to have flash burns so bad from staring at a welder do shit like that. Do not stare, people. Hold on. I need you to... Do not stare at the welds that a welder makes. It's fine in the videos because you're not getting the full effect of the flash of the ultraviolet light into your retinas, but you will fucking go blind. Welders, to you I say, the standard may be an 8 setting on your welding hood for shade, for the amount of shading required minimum by OSHA standards, but you will still fade your eyesight into blindness. Slowly. If you can do that same weld with a 12 shade instead of an 8, do it. Otherwise, you won't live to see your welds in the future because you'll be walking around fucking blind. I knew a guy when I was working at a rent-owned company in Lexington who was a welder, and he was the first welder I ever met before I became a welder. And he's like, I started showing him something on my phone. He's like, man, I can't see that. I'm a welder. I go, don't y'all wear like welding hoods with shade and stuff? He's, yeah, but sometimes you just see. No, sometimes I just don't. I don't go out there and go to weld. Like I have little, like what they call the supervisor hoods, where you just have the little. It's basically a welding face mask on a stick. It's Jose Jalapeno honey stick. Is what it is. And I might, if I have to do something like a little big beep beep, a little zip and touch and go, I might use that. Normally, I'm taking the time to put all my gear on. I'm going out there for a welding project. It's a welding project. Boom, I'm there. I'm in it. But do not do this. Do not stare at the fucking spark. If he's been told not to and go grab that welding hood and he's standing there doing that, fuck him. It's on him. You give them you say, go get your PPE. You always think from top toes. From toes to nose, you think about all your PPE. And I say toes to nose because it rhymes. But you want to go from the top, go from the bottom up. Work from the feet up. Steel-toed boots. Blue jeans. No nylon or polyurethane or blah, blah, blah pants or shirts. You want to wear a denim button up. Long sleeve. Button up as far as you can button. So I get the advantage of having the top button open because my beard protects a lot. Wonder why Welded's got a beard. Then you have, if you don't have, sometimes have those horrible green or blue jackets with the leather sleeves, or sometimes they have, like I have a full leather, like in the wintertime if I'm welding, I'll do that. If I don't, if I'm doing, or in the summertime if I'm going to be dealing with lots of sparks flying, and I really want to make sure that, you know, it's going to land on me. I don't want to get, because I won't notice until it's too late. I will wear that. Otherwise I'm going to wear my denim because if it's hot, I don't want to be fucking cooking. Right. Then your welding cap. Trust me, people will say, well, you don't have to have a welding cap. No, you don't, but you're going to have burns on your scalp if you don't. You will have bits of hot steel and slag that pops off of a stick weld that will fuse itself to your skull. I've had it happen a couple times because I forgot my welding hood at home. I took it home to wash it. Forgot to bring it back to class. Went to weld. And so next best thing is to find some kind of cotton shirt or something that you can cut up from Dollar Tree. Make sure it's cotton only, no poly blends, because that's, once again, it'll fuse to you, it'll melt to you. Safety glasses, welding hood. Ugh. All right, applying for a job. They asked me to do 2 welds. I told them the one on the left is $20 an hour weld, and the one on the right is a $40 an hour. This is negotiation tactic number 1. This is how you negotiate as a welder. I can do this. You can live with this, or you can get with that. Being a dad like a boss. This is going to be me. When we have a child, boy or girl, I don't care. I'm going to have that motherfucker out there welding. They're going to be welding so damn much. I'm like, all right, weld this. I'm going to be handing them welding parts. Go weld that up for me now. Clean that shit. I'll be like, motherfucker, you better clean it first before you start stick welding. No, you can't use the MIG welder. That's the cheater's way. I'll be cussing them and everything. Now go out there and forget it. There better not be no damn bend in it either. See? Because when you weld, there'll be bends. Welding. You don't know the struggle. Oh, I like his boots. Mostly because they don't have laces. You can wear steel-toe boots that have laces, but your odds are you'll get the sparks down there. They're going to burn the string, the lace down there at toward the foot portion. Not up so much up the ankle, but you'll get burnt. Sometimes that can happen, and yeah, then you're without shoelaces. And plus it creates a pocket for hot embers to sit in. Not necessarily a good idea. But he's got good boots. I like his boots. My problem with this one is he's wearing an orange shirt. That's not safe. It's orange safety. He's trying to make it look safe. He got his kid out there with a safe. At least their arms are covered from the UV. Our mom would be out there in denim or something welding. I don't understand. Welders be like, motherfucker, you can't see it. Can't you see I'm doing something? Trust me, he's there like that for a reason, because he's probably exhausted from the heat. If I were guessing, he stepped out of that container there he's leaned up on, was welding, cooking like fucking bacon in the microwave, stepped out and was like, oh. Probably caught him just as he had his sweat dried. It's probably so hot his sweat done dried all off of him. My dad says using a grinder to make a weld look good makes you a grinder, not a welder. See, I said this earlier. This is truth. This is a fact check true. God created welders because engineers need heroes too. I've heard that joke before, and I have an engineer friend at Lodge, and I looked at him. I go, Ronnie, yeah. You know why God created welders? I don't know why. Well, why weld? Because engineers need heroes too, and he's an engineer, and he chuckled. Of course, I also told my other engineer joke before that. Best women marry welders. The rest just settle for pipe fitters. That's awful. We don't need to be fighting each other, guys. No fighting. No infighting. Let's see. Oh. Let's go. Let's see. Let's look up some. I'm gonna close that one out. Let's see. Let's see. Images. Welding fails. Oh, the fun begins. What in the corn cob motherfucking bullshit is that? Will they top it off with JB Weld in there or what? Let's look at this. Just put a little primer on there, grind a little bit, throw a little primer on it. Nobody will ever know. The fuck is that supposed to be? I mean, this looks probably something automotive, I'd wager. But what? No. I will get the rolled paper next. No. Do not do that. That is awful. That makes my soul hurt. Oh. I guess everybody just wanted to send me videos. Y'all could have sent me these pictures too. Alright, let's see what we got next in this fucking... Oh, Lord. I'm going to say... Were you welding down, trying to vertical weld downhill or something? Had to restart a whole bunch? We just start a little weld. I'll just build it out from the sides. And then we'll try to weld. I don't know what the hell happened here. This is... Oh, it makes me nauseous to look at. Like I've done welds that just they just start getting too hot or running funny, and you're just like, what are you gonna do? I mean, nothing you can do, right? Well, fix it, but that is just on a whole another level. What? You tack welded a rebar on to guide your piece into place to hold it in place. What? Maybe he tacked this on here to hold this piece in place for all these welds. Even still, when you go to weld that to that, you're going to need to make sure you grind that piece flush. He's cut it off of something else too. See, here's what's happened, folks. I can see what was to be a pure mechanical failure. He welded that. I can't tell if I think maybe he even welded it up here. It's been cut free. Like he tacked it, like here's some tack weld, tack weld, tack weld, tack weld to hold the pipe in place, right? Okay. And he tacked it. He went to that first. But so many questions. Is he gonna need a ring, or is what? I would check, dude. You're gonna need to check your blueprints. The ones that don't fit, you may have to put a piece over it and weld on. I don't know if it's gonna require smooth transition. Some things you can't just like put I can't remember what they're called. A piece around it, metal piece that goes around it. Slide it on, slide it down into place, and then rip around the top, zip around the bottom, and it's welded on. I'll tack it in place and then do that. But he has clearly had to cut that loose from there to make that fit to there. definitely check the specs and go see your manager. That rebar is unnecessary. You already got it tacked in place. Why did you just maybe he tacked that so he and that so he could tack that? Set it up there right. I don't under. Why would you do this? Oh, so many reasons I'm gonna just scream. And rebar's hard to weld, so well, it's not hard to weld. It's just not. It's ill-advised. Okay. Unless you know what you're doing. And clearly, they've got desperate, so they obviously don't know what they're doing. I don't like pipe welding. I hate pipe welding. That makes me nauseous to think about. Alright, let's see what we got here. What is this? Oh, it ate it away at the end there. Oof. What are you... I don't know what that is. But no. I mean, you had the heat on too much, and the metal's too thin over here for you to be coming all the way out. Shouldn't have come all the way out. You probably should have came all the way down. Maybe, or I don't know what you should have done there, but whatever you done fucked up. And there's a sharp edge down there. Fix it. Probably have to use some MIG and build it up. Little pop, pop, pop. Get you some metal on there. And I would build it back up this way, because this is what's going to get ate up every time you do something with that. Nope. Nope. I've seen some shit welds in my day, and some of them are still there at the school. They kept them for on the failure trophy wall. There's a whole metal rack in the first classroom that has all a bunch of shit welds. Some good welds on there too, but shit welds there as well. Like the wall of fails, the shelf of fails. I don't call that a failure, except for it looks pretty good. You had a little issue right in here you could smooth out. You were trying to see how that pattern is? You remember that video we watched earlier? You remember that video we watched earlier? That one right here. This one right here. See that little pattern? Watch the pattern. Come on. Yeah, okay, we see it. Line your stuff up. Line your stuff up. That little pattern right there that it leaves. Let's see if I can catch it on the screen. Show me the pattern. Show me the money. Show me the money. Show me the money. Ah, see that little pattern right there? It looks familiar, doesn't it? Looks an awful lot like that. Well, it's that and that are similar, only in that they both tried to do the same thing. What up, Captain? I'm not going to be... What up, Captain? I'm not going to be on the Discord today for right now. I'm doing this portion of the video without audio, without Discord, because we're doing fail. I got one more fail to watch, or success. It looks like it's going to be a success. But I thought I'd look at some weld fail pictures, and that ain't going to hold up. That spot right there where my mouse is, it's not got penetration. It should look like that. The one on either side of it. They're trying to do that rocking the technique, and it's not grabbing. Some of your welds that overlap aren't grabbing fully. It should look smooth, like butter. Like butter. Right there, and it ain't. You've got a lot of ripples in your weld. So whoever's doing this is trying to do that rocking technique to make it look cool, and they're not. This weld will probably hold for a time. I'm hoping it's not. I'm hoping this isn't like a pipe fitting thing. Hoping this is some kind of structural. Maybe, I don't know, maybe not structural. Well, hopefully it's structural or something that it's going to last. Because if it's got any kind of high pressure on it, it's probably not going to. Maybe this is an art piece, hopefully. Awful. Let's see. What else we got on the... What am I looking... What? Oh, Lord. That's MIG wire. All of that is MIG wire. Somebody hung the MIG torch up or something, and it's got the button depressed or pressed, and it's been feeding MIG wire. Obviously, nothing's going to happen until that MIG wire touches metal that is connected to the ground wire of the machine. But somebody's getting fired probably over this, or they're going to be off the job for a little bit. They're going to be unemployed. They're going to be temporarily not on site to earn their pay. MIG wire, and when you spools that produce this much wire are fucking expensive. Fucking expensive. Let's say it again. Fucking expensive. Now, I may be all for boss makes a dollar, I make a dime. That's why I crap on company time. I may be all for go take your poop and piss breaks on the boss's dime because he's making 10 times what you're making running the show. I may be all for that. But that grievous waste, I cannot abide. As a welder, it just hurts my soul. Let's see, well, man. Plus, here's the thing: if that's running, that means the tank is holding the CO2 mix, whatever CO2 mix they're using. I use pure CO2. I use just CO2 for my MIG and just argon for my TIG. So that mix, or whatever mix they're using for their MIG gun, all's probably, by this point, has probably all run out. Or if it hasn't all run out, they've wasted a good chunk of that as well, and is also expensive to fill those tanks. Yeah. So, if I were the boss, I'd be like, who was on this gun? Who was on this gun and who left it? And I'm not going to let everybody just point the finger at one. I'm going to hear everybody's side of the story. I'm going to hopefully have shop cameras to see who fucking did it. And somebody's going home. They may get to come back and have their job again. But right now, they're going home. They're going home because somebody else is going to have to wind that shit back up. Oh, yeah. Somebody's winding that, putting that on a spool. Because it ain't going to go. They're going to wind it up nice and careful like. If you go right back from where it is, it should feed right back onto something. And someone put their hand on it and just put it on a crank and just wind it up like you're winding up a fishing rod. Somebody will weld me up something real quick that you can wind that up onto like a spool. That is a fucking shame. Oh, it hurts my soul to see that. What? What? Oh, see, this isn't a welding fail, but I like that they put that on there because I can see that this looks like this was all one piece with this. It was welded here and welded here. The welds held up, ha ha ha, but that ripped away. That metal ripped away. Why was this not welded? What the hell? Why was that not welded? This looks like it belongs to be attached to that. Ugh, anyway. Ugh. Gross. We've seen that one. Yeah. That's what we call zero penetration. But you can kick the cap off of it too. No, actually the cap looks pretty decent. What? 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 Oh, what was it? I just want... The welder took a picture of this because they were proud of it, I'm sure. Looky what I made, mommy. I'm going to go out to the shop today and get some of my original, the first plate of aluminum. They give you a little 5x5 or 6x6 plate of aluminum, fresh aluminum, that you peel it off the plastic and start fresh with a piece of aluminum welding, TIG welding. And I'm going to bring it in from the shop and I'm going to show it, or maybe I'll go out there and take a picture of it and post it on the Discord. absolutely fucking horrible. You should be ashamed of yourself. Whoever you are that did this, you should not be posting this as like, ooh, look at what I triumph. I did it. I made it. No. If I do something shitty weld, somebody's paying me shitty, and I do a shitty weld job and it looks ugly, I'm still not taking a picture of it. I got somebody that doesn't pay me worth shit, so I don't do welds worth shit. It's that whole image from before. This is what my $20 an hour rate looks like. This is what my $40 an hour rate looks like. The choice is yours. Why? Just why? Why? Why is this necessary? There is so much wrong with this. I mean, some of the welds look kind of... Oh, no, I'm not even going to say that. No. I'm not going to sully my good name. What is it? I don't know what the hell it is. I don't even know. I don't... No. Yeah. That's what that is. That's exactly what that is. When you are doing anything welding, whether you're gas welding or not, clearly he's not gas welding because the lines from it run hither off to this side. That is oxygen, I would wager. And I'm going to wager this red tank here is acetylene, or propane and oxygen. It's either oxygen and propane or oxygen and acetylene. I'm going to wager acetylene. You do not just go angle grinding anywhere near it. Move it. It's even on a cart made for moving it out of your fucking way. Don't be a dumbass. Don't be a friend. We're going to call them Friendsleys. Because I had a friend of mine. I've run into him since school. He was younger than me. He wanted to learn how to stick weld. And he ended up doing the gas oxy-fuel cutting class. Stuck weld. Named Friendsley. Who would do stupid shit like this. And on occasion I jumped his ass over and over about it. Him doing that kind of shit. And putting us all in danger with shit like this. This is death waiting to happen. This is not going to be some minor explosion because you have both the acetylene, which is your flammable, and oxygen, which is your accelerant. Whether it's acetylene or it's propane, acetylene would be a lot worse, but propane it's not going to matter when you're fucking less than 5 foot away from it. It's going to probably liquefy this guy. Everything but his bones. It's definitely going to melt the back half of him at the very least, and they will find him slumped over an angle grinder, which let's hope it's trigger based angle grinder, otherwise he falls onto that and that takes care of the front half of him. Just a bad situation. He's got it on wheels. Just take the time to look around before you angle grind, people. Look the fuck around. Okay? This dude... Oh, I get it. You're in a hurry, but if you're not going to look around, like behind you and shit, look where your sparks are going. We had a guy in school that set a trash can on fire, wasn't paying attention where he was grinding. He threw sparks into a trash can that had like where you wipe your hands off after you deal with the cleaning the bandsaw. Because it's a coolant fed system. You have to clean the muck of the metal shavings out of the bottom tray, and it feeds that coolant back through the system, filtering out, it filters out all the slag of the metal shavings and stuff. But you get that on your hands, you take a paper towel, wipe it off, or sometimes you've just been welding and you're just dirty and you just want to wipe the crap off your hands. So there's paper in a trash can. We have bins for metal scrap, but he was angle grinding Probably something for a bend test, no doubt. Shooting sparks into the trash can, it caught fire, and that was fun. I want to see what this next one is. I kind of see what's up. Oh, look at here. Ah ha ha, that's clever. Stack of dimes. It would be a stack of dimes if it didn't look like arrowheads over here, moving a little fast. Slow down. Because some of it's like it dives in, then he slows down to where you're going to put the dime. You see it kind of ran. See that point, that really sharp point there, becomes less of a point there. It becomes that point went from a real sharp point to a finer, to a smaller point. It was almost moved. See, if you're stacking dimes, they'll round out, and I guarantee you he sped up on the other side, but he left that dime there just to tell his boss, "Fuck you, I stack dimes." Don't stack. Tell him you're stacking dimes with that joke, and have your weld on this side look like a joke. What? I don't understand what the weld fails. Don't. Oh, what? Well, this weld looks like it's going to just lash out and bite you. With some savage ass teeth. Lordy mercy. Hey, I put that new exhaust on for you. Why would you take a picture of this to show? Maybe it's the customer showing this off. Going like, yeah, no. No, man, that's, no. What? That looks like... That, I don't know what that is. Looks kind of okay. This looks like a hot mess. Like, it doesn't look like it grabbed up on the corner of the piece over here. I can't really see. The image is too small. Alright, let's go back to... Let me minimize that. We're going to go get rid of that. Alright, for the pièce de résistance, it's time to review. You guessed it. Handmade steel got dragon. What? GOT dragon. Okay. Game of Thrones dragon. Okay. It's like got dragon. That makes no sense. Okay. See how much I've never watched Game of Thrones. Don't judge me. I played Dungeons and Dragons growing up in high school, middle school, some college. And we just played it way too fucking much. I got burnt out on that whole era. Yeah. Alright, let's go. Let's go see this. Right after this advert gets done, we're going to quick click on the ad, skip ad, pause it. And I don't want that. We're going to maximize the viewing pleasure here. I'm going to turn on our audio.
When people that have never...
I don't know what the copyright stuff is on this kind of stuff, but like I said, I want to stop it every so often and understand that we'll make sure we give. Let's go ahead and give full credit to Coolest Things for their video here on YouTube. Check them out. Blah 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 blah. This is not my video. I'm just reviewing what I'm seeing here.
Never seen my work, see it in person.
Yeah, that's
The
how
look
you
they
do it.
get in their eyes when they see it, it's like watching children show up at Disneyland.
Each single piece is individually cut by hand, shaped by hand, and welded on by hand. So this is probably the greatest sculpture I've ever done. Welcome to my shop. We're here in Abbotsford, BC. We're about an hour out of Vancouver, BC. I rent a big shop here on...
I don't know who that head is there. I don't know. I like the fact that he's got like hair kind of done in strips of hair. It's kind of neat. I guess he's doing statues and stuff too. That's probably part of some statue or something he's been commissioned to do. I don't know what world leader or what famous icon that's supposed to be, but very well done.
On a farm to build my artwork.
T-Rex.
I had a hot rod shop before this. My artwork started to take off and it became full-time work for me. And it wasn't something I could do on the side with a hot rod shop anymore. So I sold out to my partners and we relocated out to here. Now we're...
The face looks familiar, but I can't think of who it is.
here building artwork full-time. One of the biggest opportunities back in 2011, I received...
That is fucking awesome. Little cartoony on the face side of things. You could have done a little better, but...
a phone call from Dollywood.
But then again, once again, he's from Vancouver, Canada, so I don't expect him to be get all into the bald eagle side of things where, you know, it's got to be a certain way. It's got to look epic. It's got to look awesome. America, you know, I don't expect, he's Canadian. Don't expect that. I'm going to wait for the dogs to stop barking.
Tennessee.
Okay, let's see what we got
And they
here.
were building the world's first winged roller coaster in North America called the Wild
Winged
Eagle.
roller coaster.
So they commissioned me to build this giant eagle. As my work started to become more popular, the opportunity arose.
Oh, that's
to not
tough.
be building cars
Chinese
and
dragon.
Focus on my dream of building large-scale artwork. So this is...
Okay, so we got a T-Rex here, and you can see the time and effort has been put in to all the skin texturing. And it's not, you can tell it's not like patterned, like he hasn't done like even spacing. He wants to make it look more realistic to get the feel of natural, you know, non-symmetrical or asymmetrical. And he's got the understructure in here to support it. That's really good. I love the way he's just doing all the teeth. I wonder what image he used to kind of base his images and pictures and designs off of. The eyes, I'm probably the better eyes. He does better eyes than I've seen most people do in sculpture and stuff, because the problem with eyes is when you do sculpture, that any kind of sculpture or painting or even games, the dead eye effect that comes with it. So that, I mean, metal gives a little bit of a shimmer that you expect to see, that little shimmer in people who are alive. It's the shimmer of the soul, if you will, or the shimmer of life, whatever. You expect to see that in there. So very well done.
This is a 55-foot stainless steel T-Rex. Everything is
55-foot stainless T-Rex, stainless steel T-Rex.
hand-formed, hand-made. These sheets don't come this way. This is all, every one of these hammer marks is done with a power hammer. So it's an old 110-year-old machine that we purchased from another hot rod friend of mine, and he saw me hammering using a hammer and a sandbag. He's like, holy crap, man, like, I've got a machine that'll do that for you. And I mean, what a lifesaver it was. This is just so much hammering and texturing to do. It takes hours and hours and hours and hours and hours per panel. I'm thinking that it's probably got about 3,000 to 4,000 square feet of stainless steel just to skin it. I kind of create sculptures one problem at a time. The skeleton of the...
Well, the easiest thing to do is figure out what your innards are, your structure for that. Figure out what the square footage of metal is that way, and you know how much steel weighs. There's a measurement for that when you get done with it, and then you can figure out how thick is the skin or outer layer that he's using for all that is, and then weigh it, and you know how much the frame weighs. The difference is what the skin weighs, and then ta-da! If the skin weighs X amount, you know it's this many pounds. You know this many pounds. You know how much figure out how many square foot make 1 pound of the stainless steel at that thickness, and ta-da! That's how many square feet you got based on weight. And it should be pretty accurate.
The sculpture is my first problem. Putting it together and engineering it, so that's the first problem. So what I've done for this one is I've used stainless steel angle and stainless steel flat bar to shape the sculpture. I had these rings, you can see the rings in here, to give my overall shape for the tail and for the body. I kind of look at each piece of the sculpture as a problem that I have to solve. Learning it over the years in my whole career.
Not bad looking. A little sketchy right there. I mean, but overall, I'd be happy with that. I mean, it's not that it's too far in. It's not like it's right up here, drug in like that. If there's no undercut, so he's doing very well there. I don't know I don't see any weld there. I'd be fucking welding every piece of this thing to make sure it stayed together.
The key to the perfect cookout? Ordering delivery or free.
Texturing to do, it takes hours. I've used to give my overall shape for the tail and for the body. I kind of look at each piece of the sculpture as a problem that I have to solve. Learning it over the years in my whole career, 30 plus years of shaping metal, you kind of get to know it. It's like a friend after a while. You know that it's going to bend this way or shape that way. Designing is consuming. That's the only way I can describe it, because I live, eat, and sleep my sculptures. Everybody asks, like, do you have to cut walls down to get your sculptures out? But everything I do has to fit through the doorway. And it's a 12 by 12 doorway, and if it fits through the doorway, it'll fit on a truck and go down most highways and fit under most bridges. So we're pretty good there on a low bed trailer. Yeah. So this is probably the greatest sculpture I've ever done. This is almost a full-scale replica of a Game of Thrones dragon.
Just look at that big beastie motherfucker right there. That is, wow. Just fucking wow. Wow. I like the detail he has in the, I don't call it horns or the scales there, or whatever's causing these ridges and horn-like shapes. I'm loving the detail he's put into that. I'm wondering what he did to do that. If he was cut with like an angle grinder and just kind of cut back towards to make highs and lows, or you can see where he's a lot of his stuff is textured metal welded together. Unlike the log we looked at.
Based it on Drogon, which is the original dragon from Game of Thrones. It's designed.
Look at that detail. Okay, so he's got, looks like some maybe TIG on there, or maybe he did MIG, or maybe he did TIG. It's hard to say MIG or TIG, because he got these little, he just did some rando kind of stuff up here to give it realistic texture. That is something that, you know, a lot of welders get hung up on, and rightfully so, in like structural or pipe fitting, the stack of dimes looking good, you know, and you should have that stack of dimes on places where he's welded it together. It should have a clean weld, because it's got to hold up. It's got to. It just has to. But for stuff like that, it requires more natural look. It makes sense that would be like that.
Trying to shoot fire.
Yes, just yes. Just go, Kroger. Fuck you, Kroger. Makes me not want to shop there. Skip it. Yes, it shoots fire.
It has been my most complicated, most detailed, and most time-consuming sculpture to date.
12 feet tall, 44 feet wide, and with his wings folded.
He's about 12 feet tall. He's about 44 feet wide with his wings folded.
Wow.
Spread out, they'd probably be about 100-foot wingspan. With his tail mounted, his tail goes 30 feet in the air. Assembled, he's probably 15,000 pounds.
That is.
So I started with the inside of the mouth and then worked my
ridiculous.
way around using round bar. So all the teeth were shaped, bent, and ground points. Round bar for his gums, sheet metal for the inside of his mouth. Up inside is the fire system at the corners of his mouth. So I have 2 electric igniters and the gas tube coming out of his mouth.
Wow.
All the texture was done by welding
Hold on.
and by round bar.
Let's go. Texture was welding and round bar.
Corners of his mouth. So
Okay, so you have 2 initial starters of the flame, and there's the big gas pipe. That's what's going to spray the big. That's what gets the flame. This start with little flame. There's a little spark gap right there, and it's little sprayers that create a little flame, and that creates a big flame. So it's a combination of 2 little flames and a big gas pipe to make a big flame. That is, yeah. I ain't doing shit like that. I ain't building shit like that because
I have
know
2
better.
electric igniters and the gas tube coming out of his mouth. All the texture was done by welding and by round bar. So to make the big spikes, I bent and curved and welded together 1/2-inch round bar. And then to give it all that texture and the thickness, I just welded and welded and welded layers and layers and layers. I left the splatter and the roughness and texture to it because I thought that gave it a real, you know, kind of a horn kind of feel to it.
Yes. Yes.
And then these are all made by hand, so each scale is laid out on a full sheet of metal. We draw them all with ink on the...
Herein lies my issue with this, is that he did all this stuff to make the horns look real crisp and clean. But they're... And I understand these are all hand cut and hand done, whatever. Don't they need some real... They feel a little too clean. But that's just me.
The table. One of the things I'm proud of is that each
I saw that weld.
sheet of metal, we draw them all with ink on the table.
Right in here.
One of the things I'm proud of is that...
Ooh, I don't like that right there. Oh. What's funny is you could come back once you got all your welds laid in with stick or MIG or whatever you're welding with, come back with TIG and go back over it and you could have smoothed all of it out fairly well, and then touch with the grinder and go kind of thing, and basically make it look like there's no welds at all. That would have been a technique could be done. Yes, I can do. I not usually because I like the look of welds.
Each single piece is
Can be done.
individually laid out by hand, cut by hand, shaped by hand,
Still
and
impressive.
welded on
Fucking
by hand.
impressive.
So it's a completely handmade piece. I like to use different textures and colors to represent all the different layers of the skin and stuff. So this is all done with lots of passing back and forth like this with the torch on there. And as soon as I start seeing color, then I move the torch and keep that color flowing. It gives it more a feel.
This is what, like, when we looked at that spinning stainless steel piece with the TIG, and it's the filler rod, and they're dabbing or whatever. That is literally what he's doing with a blowtorch to heat the metal to a proper temp to get it to where it needs to that degree of temperature to change the color. And now he's keeping his relatively mild. He's not getting super out there with the colors, the purples and all that. He's keeping it the blues and greens. It looks like, I don't say greens, but blues, and he's keeping it relatively mild just to change the
feel of texture. And what I was trying to create is kind of that feel of skin
some
or
yellows
leather
and-
without trying to put all the wrinkles into it. These scales represent that chest armor. But once you get to his belly or after his belly, the scales go from armor scales to full-length belly scales, which they've been laying out here. So you can see these patterns of paper. These will be transferred into steel and then heat treated. And these wrap around the belly and they get layered. And there's probably 50 or 60 of them to cover the whole belly all the way to the tip of the tail. And you can see up here, there's a structural frame that supports the wings, and that structural frame is built into his wing and comes down to the ground here, and eventually where his front claw is, there will be holes in here where anchors can be put into the concrete. His feet are designed to be removable. I can anchor him to the concrete, slip his feet back on to cover the anchor points, and you don't see how he's bolted down. Not many people get to see inside my sculptures, but as you can see, it's a heavy and quite a massive structural frame inside here, 10-inch steel.
Rent that out as apartment space. You got to make a living off that, man. A pretty cool little apartment space. Where do you live? Oh, in the belly of a dragon. You know what you do about air conditioning. You know what you do about heating. That problem's solved, but air conditioning.
Pipe to support the wings and the legs of the frame. Yeah, just a neat perspective. Here we've got propane hookup. This will be hooked.
And he's got it set up so that you could. It's easy. Looks like it's going to be fairly easy, and everything. He's done the smart thing in his build to make sure that when you get into the belly to replace this, it's quick, easy, and it's right there. The tank sits right there. You open it up, take one tank out, put the new tank in, and you're ready to go for the next show or whatever.
Hooked up to a manifold system, which will provide the flow of the propane to the mouth of the dragon and create the flame. So,
manifold systems it's just a fancy way of saying it's got shutoffs and stuff back here, but it pipes it all the way up there.
my lifetime achievement goal for what I do is to be known for building the world's largest sculpture.
Good luck with that. I hope you get there. But I think the world's largest sculpture arguably is the Eiffel Tower. Granted, it is a tower and it is a tourist site as far as the elevators and stuff in it. But technically it's a sculpture. That's not a building per se. So maybe that doesn't count, but I don't know.
If you do a little research into some of the pieces that have been made around the world now, they're ridiculously huge. They make my stuff look puny. So I would love to be in.
Yeah, but are they any good? I can make a 3,000 foot tall pile of poop. Just give me enough time and enough food. And what are the materials? Metal? Is it just in the metal category, or are you talking about like it all together? Are we talking about Mount Rushmore, sculpture? It's huge. It's in South Dakota, I believe. Yes. Huge. You're gonna beat that? Okay. Why is it always bigger is better? That's my next thing. I'll tell you something impressive. My welding instructor showed me how to, and I know how to do TIG welding, aluminum foil. I can take two pieces of aluminum foil, pinch them up together, and do a little weld across both of them, and weld those two little sheets of aluminum foil into one, without blowing back the metal or anything like that. It can be done. Why does it got to be big? Can't it be small?
Involved in doing a piece that would not only be the world's largest, but something that would last, like the pyramids, last for generations.
Okay. First of all, it's metal. Even stainless steel does eventually rust and corrode. It's just the nature of how long it takes. It's not going to last like you think it will. Now, if it's inside, yeah, it'll last because the building will protect it before the elements get to it.
Anyways, in generations. My life-size steel dragon is the coolest thing I've ever made.
I will say yes, it probably is the coolest thing he's ever made. And I would agree, it is a very cool. Well, I'll tell you what, folks. It's been real fun doing this today. I want to do more of these reaction videos. It's been an absolute blast. We're doing the welding fails, welding videos. So now we have the dragon as the cutoff mark in the welding reactions. I've also got now a review of this creator. Like you want me to go to some certain creator. and review them, their videos, and we can go through it, cut through, and and do the same thing for any creator that you'd like me to do this for, or song reviews, or you can put me a new idea of something you'd like me to have a reaction to. With the review the creator, make sure you tell me you want me to ridicule, praise them, or what you think about them, and so I can give my take on it, and maybe we'll go from there. But I think I had a real blast today doing this for y'all. I hope you've enjoyed this. And this will be, once I get it done on Twitch, it will go in a couple days onto YouTube. So if you missed it, oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, I'm so sorry. But it will be on YouTube. I'll have to edit it down, maybe, possibly not. But in the meantime, y'all have a blessed day. Y'all be good to each other, and we'll see ya next time.